This is Jane and her boyfriend, Luis. They met when Luis sold Jane a car a couple of years ago. The car's still going well, and despite Luis's dodgy cooking, the relationship has blossomed too. In fact, Jane thinks it could be the right time for her and Luis to take the plunge and buy a condo in a new development just a few blocks away. While Jane's been hatching these housing plans, her bank's been working in the background to give her dreams the best chance of becoming reality. Thanks to FICO Platform, the bank has a deep understanding of Jane's financial life. While she's been busy moving up the ladder at work, the platform's ingested internal and external data to check Jane's payments, deposits, and FICO score. The details of Jane's financial situation feed into a machine learning model. It optimizes her price sensitivity and risk level before screening rules decide that Jane would be a good candidate for a pre-approved mortgage offer. The orchestration function assembles the information, and the decision engine triggers a communication to Jane via her chosen channel. When she gets home that night, Jane shows Luis the pre-approved mortgage offer. So how was Atlantis Bank able to execute this next best action?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome FICO Senior Director of Solution Architecture, Ignacio Gonzalez Arbolea.
Good morning, everybody. The moment that you have been all waiting for ever since you arrived here in San Diego has just arrived finally, which is the moment to see FICO Platform in action. So in order to do that, what I would like to do with you is to take this beautiful story that you have been seeing about Jane and Luis and bring it to real life thanks to FICO Platform. So please, let's go ahead and take a look at my screen. All right, so this screen that you're seeing here is the first one that you get into once you first log into FICO Platform. As you might have already guessed, it contains the list of projects or solutions that I might be working on, or maybe solutions that someone else in my team has been sharing with me for collaboration. And in here, you can already spot one of the key differentiators from FICO Platform, which is the fact that it can handle any type of business decisioning use case, no matter the type of industry, no matter the type of product or data model. You can see in my list of projects that I have a project for the collections space and assigning treatments, another one for next best action, for consent management, for fraud, for commercial lending, for retail lending. But it could even be the case that I would like to have a solution that doesn't have anything to do at all with the financial services industry. Me, in my case, I'm from Madrid in Spain, and a few days ago, before coming here to the US, my wife came to me and said, Nacho, please be careful with what you eat in the US, because every time that you go there, you come back with 3 kilograms more. And I said, no problem at all, darling. What I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna create a solution on platform that is gonna help me with that. And that's exactly what I did. I created a solution here that you can read. It's called Should I Eat That or Not? In which basically I just need to take a picture of the burger that I'm about to eat. That will go into machine learning model on FICO Platform, and it will give me a recommendation whether I should be eating that burger or not. Most of the times it's telling me, no, you should not eat that, but fortunately it's bringing me an alternative meal structure, which typically consists of broccoli or cauliflower, but that's something that I still need to improve in my strategies. Creating a new solution on platform is as easy as clicking on the new solution button here on the corner, just giving a name to it, my new solution, for example. And from the moment that I click on create, FICO Platform will automatically begin to spin up and provision all of the underlying infrastructure, services, and APIs so that I can design my own use case. Okay, so if you paid attention to that 1.5 minute story about Jane and Luis, they were living a fantastic life together. They were eating burgers all day long. But all of a sudden, they began to realize that they were running out of space in their closets, so they thought it would be a good moment to go ahead and look to buy a new house. And the interesting thing in here is that Jane's bank, Atlantis Bank, was able to tell that fact, was able to realize that need even before them. So they were able to craft a personalized, pre-approved mortgage offer and put it in the phone of Jane at the right moment. So which of the solutions that I'm showing here on the screen would you say is the one implementing that story, implementing that use case? Okay, so you're all exactly wrong. It's not the one that I'm circling with my mouse. It's actually the one here above, which is called next best action. That is the one that is implementing that use case, that story that we just saw. So let me just go ahead into it and show you what it's doing. I'm gonna go into the next best action. And one of the key concepts to understand when designing a new solution on platform is how easily you can provision capabilities as part of your solution. And the way it works is very similar to installing applications on your phone. So the same way that you would take your iOS device or your Android device and you would install an application, that's the same process that you need to follow here on FICO Platform. You just need to go into the left-hand side, into the Components tab, and then click on the Add Component button. That is going to take you to the catalog of available capabilities to you, of course, depending on your licenses. And in here, you just need to search for the one that you would like to install or provision. For example, if I would like to provision decisioning capability, I just type for decision, and I can get this decision modeler component showing up, so that I just need to click on the Add button, which would be the equivalent to the Install button on your phone. I just need to give a name to it, for example, my new decision, and just select into which solution I would just like to provision it. By clicking on the Save button, again, FICO Platform will begin to provision all the infrastructure needed on the cloud so that I can begin to configure and make use of this capability as part of my own use case. All right, so let's go back to our next best action solution. And what is it that it's doing? What is internally this next best action solution doing? So in essence, it's doing 3 very simple steps. The first step is going to the outside world, to an external data provider. It could be a credit bureau, it could be a reporting agency, or like in our case, what we're doing is that we're going to an open banking data aggregator to bring in data about our customer, to bring in data about Jane in our case. How easily can we configure the external data access to a provider on FICO Platform? That's as easy as going into the admin tab here on top, clicking on data providers, and this is going to bring a full drop-down list with all of the natively built-in connectors to external data providers. And you can read in here things such as Crave in several countries, Equifax, Experian, LexisNexis, and so on. Once you have selected the one that you would like to add and connect to, you just need to click on the Add button, and that provider is going to be added onto the list below. Once that's been added to the list below, you will be prompted to provide whatever parameters you need to provide so that FICO Platform can access that external data provider on your behalf. These are typical things such as client IDs, secrets, URLs, passwords, and so on. So that's step number 1, going to an external data provider, bringing in open banking data about Jane. Step number 2 is actually putting all that data through a native Python machine learning model, which is this one that you see in here. And this model is going to be the one predicting the likelihood of the customer, in this case, the likelihood of Jane, accepting a pre-approved mortgage offer. It's going to be detecting that willingness to buy a new house. This is a Python model that could have been perfectly well developed externally in any third-party tool like a Jupyter Notebook, Anaconda project, or whatever. But of course, this is a FICO demonstration, and as so, we're making use of our own analytics capability, which is called FICO Analytics Workbench, which is this one that you're seeing in here. Out of all the features that you can see on the left-hand side, I would just like to drive you very quickly through the one called Notebooks. Notebooks, you could think of them as a series of paragraphs or instructions that contain the steps for building your predictive models. And the differentiator from Analytics Workbench is that it brings together both the goods and the benefits from the open source world of Python, with its traditional libraries such as the scikit-learn, H2O, and so on, together with all the benefits that the proprietary library from FICO bring to the table. So you can use both things from both worlds, open source and FICO, to come up with the best analytics possible. So let me just go ahead into that notebook. You will be seeing a series of snippets that allow me to build my own predictive model. But basically, these are the traditional steps, such as bringing in the data set, cleaning it, making sure that it's ready for the analytics process, doing any treatment for the missing values, partitioning the data sets in training, testing, and validation data sets, selecting the fields that are going to be part of the modeling phase. Actually, if I scroll down a bit more, you will be able to see that I'm producing 2 different models with 2 different types of techniques. I'm producing a random forest here on the left and an XGBoost, so that I can later compare between those 2 and select the one that is giving us a best predictive power to push that onto production on the platform for execution. If I scroll down a bit more, you will be able to see the typical ROC curves that allow me to compare the predictive power of the models. Here they are. And the interesting point in here is actually the name that I'm giving to my final model that I'm going to publish onto production, which is this one in here. And it reads REST for Response XGBoost EPC Customer. And if I was to copy the name of the model that I just created, and I went now to the catalog of available capabilities that we saw earlier on at the beginning of the demo, and I pasted that string, and I search for that one, that Python model will come up. So now, not only me, not only my team, but anybody in my organization, as long as they have the permissions to do so, they can take this Python model and they can plug it into their own use cases, to their own projects. So this is a great example of analytic asset reusability and composability. Just by clicking on this Python model, I can get access to the full description of it, as well as the documentation, such as the expected input schema and expected output schema. So this is step number 2. Step number 1 was going to the open banking data aggregator to bring in data about Jane. Step number 2 was putting all that data through a Python machine learning model that is going to detect if Jane is willing to buy a house. Step number 3, and final step, is putting all that data through a decisioning project, which is this one that you can see here on top of the list, which is going to be the one crafting and coming up with the personalized offer to be sent to Jane's phone. And those 3 steps, of course, need to be orchestrated together in some manner. How are we doing that? Again, the same way, just by the orchestration capability that is deployed here in my same solution. So let me just go ahead and open that one so that you can see the overall flow. I will open up the main process flow that has been executed for this use case. The first thing that we're doing, you will see that is just checking a flag to make sure that we need to go out to the data provider, because it may be the case that we would have the cache data and we don't need to do so. If it's the case that we need to go out, then we will go ahead and contact that open banking data provider to bring in the data. Then we will go ahead and put all that data through a Python machine learning model. And with all the results from the previous steps, we will put all the data through the decisioning project to come up with a personalized offer and send it to Jane's phone. In the moment that I click on the Publish Process button, this whole workflow is going to be made available as a web service that can be invoked in real time as well as in batch mode. And now it is when the fun part takes place. This is the moment to put this to the test. And for putting this to the test, what we've done is that we've leveraged our own UI and communications capability to come up with what we pretend to be the Atlantis Bank's own core banking system or Atlantis Bank's own website. Of course, it's fake, but we're going to be using it to trigger this whole process and see how it works. So let me go ahead. I will open up that website that we configured, which is this one over here, Atlantis Bank website. What I'm going to do in this moment, I would like to show Jane's phone on a screen. I just stole it from here. I'm going to get into Jane's profile just to take a look into the information that we have here in the bank, but this is the typical information such as the customer number, the phone, date of birth, the occupation, the income, the address, all of the notifications that have been sent historically to Jane, all the loan applications that we've had with Jane, any products that she has, monthly data, historical data. And now the same way that will happen in the videos, you will see that tomorrow, what we're going to do is that we're going to give a pay rise to Jane. We're going to increase her salary. So I'm going to click on the Edit button, and I'm going to move her salary from 85 to 95K. And I'm going to save her profile. In the moment that I save her profile, I'm going to get this prompt saying, hey, wait a minute. There's an event here. There's a salary increase. Would you like to trigger next best action processing? Would you like to contact FICO Platform? Would you like to trigger all this process to get to the open banking, execute Python machine learning model, and execute decisioning? So I'm going to say, yes, please, process that. Call FICO Platform. This is going to go to FICO Platform. In a matter of milliseconds, I'm receiving a response with the offer score, with the offer level, which is premium offer, the offer type, which is...
Digital Jane, you have a message. Digital Jane, you have a message.
This is, as you can tell, Jane's ringtone. And the message that I'm receiving is the same one. So looking for a new home, you have a pre-approved mortgage up to 300K, call us now. And thanks to the fact that this is going through an urgent channel, I'm receiving that same information also through email with exactly the same message. Looking for a new home, you have a pre-approved mortgage up to 300K. And if I was now to click on that link, this will take me to Atlantis Bank's public website, where now I can just go and kick off the next use case, which is the one for originations, for retail lending. What will happen next? Will Jane apply for the mortgage? Will Louis be brave enough to go and get himself in a mortgage with Jane? This is something that we will see tomorrow, so to be continued. Thank you very much.